As the war rages on, let's bring in the former ambassador to Lebanon, Ian Parmeter. Ian, thanks so much for your time. We've had the killing of Yahya Sinwar, we've had the killing of a Hezbollah leader and his likely successor, but the war shows no end in sight. So what happens when these leaders are knocked out? What do you see the material effect being?
Well, the killing of Hashem Safieddine, who was the replacement for Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, is essentially old news now. Israel's been able to confirm it, but the strike that killed him was earlier this month. There has been no announcement from Hezbollah as to who a new leader might be, and there may not be, in fact, because that sort of announcement clearly puts a target on the back of whoever the new leader is. The really big question is the extent to which Hezbollah has been able to recover its communications ability. We do know that there was an Iranian IRGC team that went to Lebanon soon after the exploding pages and walkie-talkies to try to help them set up another communications network. And it may be that something has been put in place because Hezbollah is firing across the border and shows no sign of actually wanting to have a ceasefire at this stage. In fact, Hezbollah, in its latest statement, has specifically rejected the ceasefire, whereas a week ago it was saying it would accept one. So we just really have to wait and see. It's been described by an American envoy as being completely out of control in Lebanon. At the same time, of course, we've got the American Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, in Lebanon, but the chances that he'll have any success at this point are, I would think, very low. It's very hard to see where there can be a breakthrough at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Hezbollah must have restored some of their communications to some degree, but there is no obvious leader of Hezbollah, and further south in Hamas, the replacement for Yahya Sinwar, if there is one, has not been announced. So what does this mean for any kind of ceasefire or negotiations? How can you negotiate with the leader of the party that doesn't exist?
Well, that's really the point. If there isn't a leader you can negotiate with who can speak on behalf of the party, I'm talking here in relation to both Hezbollah and also Hamas, the negotiations themselves are very difficult to conduct. I think the reality is that all sides in the region, probably also the United States, sees that there is really not much chance of a breakthrough at this point. The United States really had to make one more effort because this war is hurting the Democrats' prospects for the November 5 presidential election because it's dividing the Democrats. Arab Americans in Michigan are saying that they won't vote, and young progressive Democrats are saying they may not vote either. And if both of those things happen, it could be that Donald Trump wins the election by default. So it's a very great difficulty for the Americans.
And if Donald Trump, Ian, does win the election, what changes in the Middle East? Anything?
I think Israel gets more latitude. If Israel gets on better, more latitude. Yes, Israel gets on much better with Donald Trump than they do with the Biden administration, and it's almost certain that a Trump win would be, well, it is certain a Trump win would be very greatly welcomed by Netanyahu. He would pretty well be able to work hand in glove with the Americans on what he's doing at the moment, and the risk of weapon supplies and munitions being withheld, as the Americans have threatened might happen. There in a letter from Blinken and Lloyd Austin, the Defense Secretary, a few days ago, would be rescinded. It just wouldn't happen under Trump. So it would be good news for Israel's current ruling coalition.
Ian, always great to get your expertise. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.